Wow, was that amazing? It is so wonderful to see you all here on this very joyous occasion, seeing so many old friends and people who care so deeply about the law school and about the university. It, makes me feel all warm inside regardless of what's going on out there. Now, one more time, let's do one more round of applause for the outstanding African American cultural ensemble performance. For those of you that might be wondering, the choir is a treasure of our community and one of the many ways that the Northwest African American Museum enriches our culture and our lives. And talking about the very special culture here in the Pacific Northwest, I'd like to begin today's program with a land acknowledgement. The University of Washington acknowledges the Coast Salish peoples of this land, the land that touches the shared waters of all tribes and bands within the Suquamish, Tulalip, and Muckleshoot nations. Now, part of what makes this event so very special to me, and there are lots of things about this event that are really cool, is its connection to Tony Remby, for whom the deanship is named. And by the way, I want you all to know that we're recording this program, and we plan to share it with Arthur and Tony, and I know that it will mean a lot to them. I know that they will enjoy watching what we do here today. Tony graduated from UW Law in 1960, and she has a record of shattering one glass ceiling after another. She was the very first female partner at the law firm Pillsbury, Winthrop, Shaw, Pittman, LLC, and she was the managing partner of the firm's tax department and a member of the firm's executive committee. She's a renowned tax attorney, a leader in business, and a board member for many prominent corporations, and she's also a philanthropist. Tony has received numerous awards and honors for her work, including the 1999 Distinguished Law Alumna Award from this School of Law. And in 2005, she was named one of the Bay Area's 100 most influential women in business by the San Francisco Business Times. And in 2008, she received the Sandra Day O'Connor Board Excellence Award. And in 2011, she was one of just 20 attorneys to be named a living legend by the California Recorder Legal Population. She is also an incredibly warm, nurturing, and fun person to hang out with. And Toni and her husband, Arthur Rock, established the Rembe Deanship to enable the UW Law School to attract the most talented, visionary leaders like Tamara Lawson. And thanks. I'm not going to talk about her a lot today, but you will be hearing from people who have seen her grow up, and we are so lucky for all that you have done to make her ready to come here and change our world and rock our world. And thanks to their generosity, the Rembe Deans are empowered to pursue bold agendas and to seed new and creative ideas. It really does make this deanship so special because you do have funds where you can do some things creatively. The deanship enables the law school to foster a rigorous and vibrant educational environment that develops skilled and conscientious lawyers, leaders, and contributors to society. That's why I'm so delighted to be part of today's investiture of Tamara Lawson as the next Toni Rembe Dean. She brings a passion for innovation and for collaboration. She really works across the university in wonderfully, wonderful ways. And she has a deep commitment to diversity and justice in the legal field and in the world at large. Her dedication to fostering student success and academic excellence and her outstanding body of scholarship in criminal law are just a few of the reasons why we're so proud to have her as dean. I remember when we called her up and it was like she said yes, and we were all so excited. She embodies the values that are at the heart of Toni's legacy, and we're honored to be formally conferring the Rembe Deanship on her today. So thank you all for being part of this very special occasion. And now I'd like to welcome Professor Stephanie Ferrier. She's a faculty member and activist with nearly 30 years of teaching, scholarship, and advocacy in international human rights. She's a close friend, and she was a mentor of Dean Lawson. So welcome, Professor Ferrier.
Thank you. Excuse me, I have to get my glasses. It comes with age. I'm delighted and honored to participate in this investiture ceremony for Dean Tamara Lawson. Dean Lawson and I first met at a demonstration. It was in Washington, D.C. 20 years ago in the spring. And at the time, I was a professor at Penn State Dickinson School of Law, and she had just completed 6 years as a prosecutor in Nevada and was now at Georgetown University Law Center pursuing an LLM degree. The affirmative action cases of Grutter and Gratz against the University of Michigan were slated to be argued before the Supreme Court. And SALT, the Society of American Law Teachers, had organized a contingent of law professors and students to participate in a rally at the Supreme Court that day. They suggested we faculty wear our academic robes so we would have a visible presence as a group. And following the rally, we marched from the Supreme Court to the Lincoln Memorial. And so it was on Constitution Avenue, en route to the Lincoln Memorial, that a young woman came up to me and asked, "Are you a law professor?" I said, "Yes." And she said she was interested in transitioning her career into legal academia and would welcome some insights into the process. This is before the AALS and various law prof blog sites had much information on this. And she was particularly interested, how does it really work in practice? You know, what are the real nuts and bolts of doing this? Well, we've been in touch ever since, sharing thoughts, experiences, ideas. So she landed a position in Miami and set about bringing her experience as a lawyer into the classroom in brilliant ways that guided students and developed their critical thinking skills in criminal law, procedure, evidence, and race and the law. Her commitment to excellence shone from the very beginning. In her first year of law teaching, the students voted her Professor of the Year for upper class students. In her second year of law teaching, the students voted her Professor of the Year for upper class students. And I could go on, but in my few minutes, I want to highlight a particular aspect of Dean Lawson's work. A key mark of her professional life has been the development and nourishing of community. One way she has done this is through building networks that provide venues for information sharing, that serve as laboratories for generating ideas and discussing strategies, and that are firm sources of support for each other within the networks. In turn, these networks act as impact multipliers, in that the strong bonds formed further strengthen the work being done, and is so powerfully reflected in a key theme of Dean Lawson's work over the years. These networks build community. Now, this resonates strongly with an important principle in my field of law, which is international human rights law. The Universal Declaration of Human Rights, adopted by the UN 75 years ago this year, contains a list of rights that we all have as human beings. One critique of the Declaration is that it has an overemphasis on individualism, seemingly reflecting a disconnection between people through its litany of individual rights, with no sense of human interconnectedness. But this discounts a clause in the Declaration that notes a key aspect of the interconnectedness of human beings, Article 29. When the UN Commission on Human Rights was drafting the Universal Declaration, among the people they asked for input on what rights to include was Mahatma Gandhi. In his response to the Commission, Gandhi replied in so many words that the question wasn't so much what rights do people have, but what duties do people owe each other? If people fulfilled their duties to each other, then people's rights would be respected. And indeed, the drafters of the Declaration understood that rights do not exist in a vacuum, but that rights are interrelated with duties. And so Article 29 of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights begins, everyone has duties, but to whom? Okay. It states everyone has duties to the community, but it doesn't stop there. It articulates just why the community is so important. It says everyone has duties to the community in which alone the free and full development of their personality is possible. So it is only within community, within rights-respecting community, that everyone can fully enjoy their human rights. This clause calls on people to recognize that we are all interconnected. The full development of the human person depends on rights-respecting communities. Now, earlier I referred to the networks that Dean Lawson has nurtured as impact multipliers. Dean Lawson, you are an impact multiplier. Through her work, she has been bending the arc toward justice through her commitment to excellence, her leadership in so many ways, and through her centering and nourishing of concentric circles of community. It's been such an inspiration and joy to see her in action over these past 20 years, and I look forward to seeing her accomplishments for many more years to come.
Some of their names you know, Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson, Vice President Kamala Harris. Some other names you may not know, the first Black woman federal judge was Constance Baker Motley. Constance Baker Motley, can you please say her name? Constance Baker Motley. The first Black woman law professor was Ludi Littell. Ludi Littell, can you please say her name? The first Black woman dean of a law school was Patricia Roberts at Howard Law School, 1969. Patricia Roberts, can you please say her name? One more name to say that you already know. The first black woman dean at the University of Washington Law School is Tamara Lawson. Please say her name. Congratulations. Congratulations, Dean Lawson. Congratulations to Dean Lawson's mother, who is here. Congratulations to all of the ancestors who made this moment possible. Alice Walker reminds us of the congratulations that they deserve in a poem she wrote called Women. They were women then, my mother's generation, husky of voice, stout of step, with fist as well as hands. How they battered down doors and ironed starch white shirts. How they led armies, head rag generals across minefields, booby-trapped ditches to discover books, a place for us. How they knew what we must know without knowing a page of it themselves. Especially remembering those women, happy Black History Month. During these 28 days of remembrance and reflection, I came a long way to ask just one question that only Dean Lawson can answer. What does it mean for a black woman to lead this great law school when much of Black history can be understood as a story about resisting law? Not resisting law in theory, but resistance to the way that law has too often functioned in the United States. Resistance to the things that law has done to people, especially people of color and poor people and LGBTQ people. Many of the folks that we celebrate during Black History Month are outlaws. Rosa Parks, Martin Luther King, Angela Davis, John Lewis. Part of their struggle for freedom required them to break the law in order to reshape the law. And now here you are, Dean Lawson, running the law school. As RuPaul would say, you better work. And I think the ancestors would add, yeah, you better, because you have lots of work. Much work remains to be done. You can start here in King County, where white households enjoy one of the highest net worths in the country, $456,000. Doesn't extend to everybody. The average net worth of a black household in King County is $23,000, just 5% of the white average. 46% of the black people in this county live in poverty, compared with 16% of white people. So, Dean, you have a lot of justice work to do. And right here at home, and you've got some of the best allies to help you, this first-class faculty and staff, the UW students, the law students who you're already bragging to me about. And I know through UW's work that you are already working on these problems like in King County, indigenous people are 3 times more likely to be killed by the police than white people. The problem that in King County, Latinx and black people and indigenous people get more time for the same crime. Now, I know that UW is already focused on these issues in task force. I know that you have partners all over the state, all over the city, including my friend Dan Saddleberg, who's here, the former Kings County prosecuting attorney. Thank you, Dan, for your fine work on these issues. And of course, these are more than local issues. And our nation needs your help. Our nation needs your help because UW educates people who will not only be leaders in the city and the state, but people who are leaders in the country and around the world. So we need your intellect, we need your creativity, we need your ambition. We need you because of last month in Memphis, Tennessee. Last month in Memphis, Tennessee, the police stopped a young black man named Tyree Nichols for reasons that are still unknown. The police report said that it was for reckless driving, but the police chief said she didn't see any evidence of that. The most infuriating thing about the videos that we've all seen is what they tell us about the rule of law. In those videos, the police officers looked like they were doing their jobs. That's how they thought they could get away with it. I once heard Dean Lawson give a talk about a piece she was working on, some of her excellent criminal justice scholarship, where she said that if you get shot by the police and you don't die, the most common thing that happens to you is you get locked up. That whatever attracted the attention of the police to you in the first place, whatever made them shoot you, is a criminal case. And that's the most typical result. You go to jail. That's how the law works. And in the video from Memphis, the videos, it looks rote. Mr. Nichols doesn't appear to fight or to otherwise threaten the officers. He's as polite as a person can be when he's being tortured to death. He says, "Please stop." Maybe that's why in the videos you sometimes hear the officers calling him bro. It's their way of communicating that it's nothing personal. The videos depict the police not so much angry as hard at work, putting in time. As they beat Mr. Nichols, they stop occasionally to catch their breath. And one officer pauses to tie his shoe. And near the end of the videos, as a bloody and bruised Nichols is propped up against a squad car, the police do what a work team does when it successfully completes a project. Fist bumps and congratulations all around. Dean Lawson was a prosecutor and then a scholar of the criminal legal system. And so this feels like a full circle moment. I'm excited to see all that is to come on these issues. There's a wonderful documentary about the first time that Cory Booker ran for office. Of course, he's now the U.S. Senator from New Jersey, but when this documentary was made, he wasn't too long out of law school, and he was trying to be the mayor of Newark. He was running against someone who had been in office for a long time, someone who seemed kind of stuck. And Booker was the underdog. He actually ended up losing this first race, but you didn't know that at the time. There was a lot of excitement about his candidacy, especially among the city's young people. And the documentary shows this campaign rally where Booker works the crowd into a frenzy. And then when it's over, the camera focuses on this little black girl. She's about 9 years old with the brightest eyes. And the filmmaker asked her, "Did you see Cory Booker?" And she smiles the biggest smile, and she says, "Yes." And then she smiles some more and says, "And I smelled him too." Yeah, the filmmaker laughs, and she asks, "Well, what did he smell like?" The little girl pauses. She thinks carefully. And then she smiles this gorgeous, confident smile, and she says, "He smelled like the future. Friends, I came a long way to proclaim to this beloved community that today smells like the future. In this place between East and West, between many old worlds and many new worlds, in this place where the law has created wealth and the law has taken away wealth, in this place where the law has eroded racial justice and the law has advanced racial justice, you have a dean who stands with you to wield the law on behalf of all of us who've felt shut out, forgotten, alone, or abandoned. I remember those beautiful words from the choir that we heard a few minutes ago. Sing a song full of the hope that the present has brought us. And during Black History Month, I also remember those other words, sing a song full of the faith that the dark past has taught us. And I remember that dark past. And I wonder who I would have been, what I would have done. I hope that if I were an enslaved person, I would have been a runaway. I hope that I would have been one of those enslaved people who led uprisings. The reality is that's not what most people did. During the Civil Rights Movement, I hope that like my mother, I would have marched with Martin and taken it to the streets with Malcolm. Reality is that's not what most people did. And the movement for Black lives, the expression is, if you want to know what you would have done back in the day, ask yourself, what are you doing right now? What Dean Lawson is doing is leading this fine law school to the next level. Dean, may the ancestors be with you. May your mother and all of the sheroes of Black history continue to light your path. May you continue to make us proud. Congratulations, Dean Lawson. Congratulations, UW.
Good evening, and thank you, Professor Butler, for those beautiful words. Not an easy act to follow, but I have a phenomenal job. It's my great privilege and honor to have this opportunity to introduce the incomparable Tamara Lawson for her investiture as the new Tony Remby Dean for the University of Washington School of Law. I've had the distinct pleasure of knowing Dean Lawson for nearly 16 years, and ironically, it was the most immediate past dean of UW Law, another dear friend, Mario Barnes, who introduced and brought Dean Lawson and me together. The first time I met Dean Lawson, 4 incredibly impressive qualities about her were immediately obvious to me, though I won't be noting them in order of importance. The first is that Dean Lawson is a fashionista, a style icon. And second, she is a trailblazer and a visionary. Third, she is one of the most hardworking people on the planet. And fourth and finally, she is a kind, dedicated, and generous soul who works tirelessly for the people, communities, organizations, and causes that she loves. And if you'll indulge me for just a bit, I will share more about each one of these amazing qualities during my 10 minutes. As you all have surely come to know by now, Dean Lawson is a complete style icon and an absolute showstopper when it comes to fashion. The woman is bad. And as a famous rap group, Run DMC, explained in their song Peter Piper, not bad meaning bad, but bad meaning good. Dean Lawson always looks impeccable, and her style is always both timeless and trendy. And if you're her friend, you simply understand that one of the consequences of her friendship is that you look shabby by comparison when you're standing next to her. Especially if you're like me and you have very little fashion sense, although I hope I get some points for wearing purple. But it's not just about the clothes and the bags for Dean Lawson. What I've learned from watching and listening to her over the years is that there is intentional communication laced into each outfit that she wears. Whether it's the brooch on her jacket that is designed to remind her students that they are stars, or her signature purple suits and purple leather purse that convey her stroud and proud commitment to the Husky community. One can be assured that Dean Lawson is both on point and on message with her fashion. Second, and more importantly, Dean Lawson is a true trailblazer and a visionary. After all, she was among the very first legal scholars, if not the first, to write about the CSI effect on jurors and non-lawyers. Similarly, Dean Lawson, a former deputy district attorney in Las Vegas, Nevada, was among the very first professors to write scholarship concerning the killing of Trayvon Martin and the dangers of stand your ground laws. In fact, her seminal article on the killing of Trayvon Martin garnered her many media appearances as a legal expert on the case and the issue. And soon thereafter, she was selected as the reporter for the American Bar Association's National Task Force on Stand Your Ground laws. And since then, Dean Lawson has continued to apply her scholarship in ways designed to advance justice by helping to train other attorneys in the criminal law field. For example, she's offered trainings for the Miami-Dade Prosecutor's Office, as well as the federal public defenders on issues related to race, bias, and policing, and even the charging of offenses. Critically, she is using her scholarly insights to shape the next generation of law students and lawyers with her criminal law casebook, which is co-edited with President Song Richardson of Colorado College, who is present, and Professors Angela Harris and Cynthia Lee. But in addition to being a scholarly visionary, Dean Lawson has left shattered glass in any workspace that she enters. She has broken through the glass ceiling to achieve several important firsts. Indeed, it is fitting that today's investiture is taking place during February, Black History Month, because Dean Lawson is a real history maker. First, at St. Thomas University Miami School of Law, she became the first tenured woman of color on the faculty, the first. Later, in 2018, she became the first woman of color to serve as Dean of St. Thomas Miami Law. And then in August 2022, Dean Lawson made history again when she became the first woman of color to become the Dean at the University of Washington School of Law. And as if her trailblazing was not impressive enough, Dean Lawson's outstanding talent as a visionary are even more remarkable. She sees possibilities where others see none, and she creates structures that are themselves history-making, all while advancing social justice. In fact, she not only envisioned the historic Benjamin L. Crump Social Justice Center at St. Thomas Miami Law, a center that aims to nurture the next generation of civil rights lawyers while also pushing for racial and gender diversity in the legal profession. She also accomplished the impressive feat of raising the funds to actually found the historic center. As you all know, Benjamin Crump is the most prominent civil rights lawyer of our time, and his work centers on one of the most pressing issues today, police violence and brutality against Black and brown people. To build this historic center, Dean Lawson successfully yielded a $1,000 corporate grant from the Trust Financial Foundation to support the creation of the center. And the resources that she raised to found the Crump Social Justice Center were just the beginning. Dean Lawson had an even bigger and more historic vision in mind. She had a vision of the first non-HBCU law school to be named after an African American, Benjamin Crump, and the first to be named after a living African American. And she then put her vision in motion, securing the $10 million gift from Mr. Crump and his associates that would make her vision a reality, that would turn St. Thomas Miami Law to the now new Benjamin L. Crump College of Law. And notably, this $10 million gift is the largest gift in the history of St. Thomas University, the entire university, not just the law school. And I would be remiss if I did not note that Dean Lawson was essentially a one-woman show in bringing in these two gifts. She cultivated the donors, namely Mr. Crump. She made the ask and essentially closed both gifts. And importantly, she did it all without a staff development and alumni relations office. Didn't I tell you she was bad? And she did it because she believes in her students, their promise, and our ability as a nation to achieve racial and social justice. Further, she understood that mentoring and opportunity are both critical to achieving our shared goal of expanding justice in the profession and in society. As Dean Lawson indicated at the Crump Social Justice Center's founding, quote, "No one becomes Ben Crump on their first day as a lawyer, but mentorship is critical to building the confidence and the platform for people to excel," end quote. Importantly, Dean Lawson also had a key vision that has literally helped to change the face of the legal profession. The Associate Deans of Color Annual Retreat, which she founded during her own term as an Associate Dean at St. Thomas Miami Law, and that she did to help Associate Deans of Color build the skills and bridges they need to become deans at institutions across the country. Many current and past deans directly benefited from her excellent institution building, vision, and organizational skills in creating the Associate Deans of Color Annual Retreat. At least 15 attendees of this conference have become law deans, and that list includes individuals like Mario Barnes, formerly at UW Law, Dean Danielle Hawley of Howard Law School, soon to be the first Black woman president of Mount Holyoke College, and Dean Gary Jenkins of the University of Minnesota Law School, who is clearly also destined to become a president. That's just naming a few of the beneficiaries. Third, Dean Lawson is one of the hardest working people you will ever meet. Her hands are literally in everything. She is a leader among leaders, and she holds and has held a number of critical leadership positions in legal academia and the legal profession. In addition to running this law school, one of the best law schools in the nation, she currently serves on the Association of American Law Schools, or AALS, Dean Steering Committee, the AALS Executive Committee for the Section on Women in Legal Education, of which she was formerly the chair, the Law School Admissions Council Board, where she chairs the Budget and Finance Committee, and the Board for the Society of American Law Teachers, or SALT, where she leads the ABA Rules Committee. Plus, she currently serves as chair of the Law Professors Division for the National Bar Association, the largest organization for Black attorneys. And I won't tell you the story about how I saw Tamara when we were on vacation in Aruba, going around the pool on the phone, cutting deals, but I won't tell you, but it was both scary and really impressive. Fourth and finally, Dean Lawson is a generous spirit who utilizes her leadership and entrepreneurial skills to help the people, communities, and organizations she loves the most. I can personally attest to what an excellent friend she is. And you can also see Dean Lawson's kind heart in the way she cares for and takes care of her mother, who is affectionately known and beloved in legal academia as Dean Mom. Though let me say, don't sleep on Dean Mom. Dean Mom, Ms. Barbara Lawson, is also a style icon, a savvy business leader, and a formidable strength among us. And for sure, Dean Lawson takes after her mother in every way. But it's been beautiful to see how Dean Lawson manages to excel in one of the toughest jobs around, being a law school dean, all while managing to find true quality time in caring for her mother. The University of Washington, particularly the law school, is now an amazing community and an organization that Dean Lawson loves. She's exceptionally dedicated to the Husky community, and I know she will continue to shower the law school with the incredible leadership skills, care, and strategic planning that she has brought to every institution she has touched. You are very lucky to have her at the helm. As she has done all her life, she will bring the law school to new heights. I'm excited to see where she takes the law school in the future, and I'm beyond honored to introduce my dear friend, Dean Tamara Lawson, the new Tony Remby Dean at the University of Washington.
Thank you. Thank you so much. This is such a great evening for our entire community. I want to thank my mentor, Professor Ferrier, and I want to thank Professor Paul Butler. Although you need no introduction, my friend, I will share with our audience that Professor Butler comes to us from Georgetown University, and he is our nation's expert in race, crime, and justice. You may see him every other night on MSNBC. And I'm so grateful that he came, and he also brought his lovely mother, and our mothers know each other. Professor Butler, thank you so much for being my big brother in the Academy. And also, I want to thank Dean Angela Onwuachi-Willig, again, who needs no introduction, but I will share for this audience that Dean Onwuachi-Willig is the Dean of Boston University, and she is also the first scholar named professorship in critical race theory. And I know you want to clap, but the one other thing I have to say is she is in the top 5 scholars nationally, not Black scholars, all scholars that are cited nationally by law professors. Thank you for being my sister dean and my confidant and inspiration as we lead law schools across the nation. This is an amazing evening for all of us, such a rich program, and the attendance in this room. The attendance in this room is our community, and I'm going to talk a lot about what we as a community are going to accomplish together. I want to thank our choir. That was beautiful and uplifting and inspiring, and I think also appropriate for Black History Month. And maybe the first time this moot courtroom has heard that song, but maybe not the last time it will hear that song. I want to thank my team, all of the law school staff and administrators who put this event together. It was truly a labor of love. People are saying it's the first of its kind, but I'm honored to be able to engage with the community in this official way in the name of Tony Remby, which we will talk about a little bit more. Tony Remby broke the ceiling so that we could stand here and do great things, and I'm internally grateful for her legacy and all that she has accomplished for women and for lawyers. I want to thank my mother, who's here with us tonight, who supported me through my career. And thank you, Mom. I have a funny story about Dean Mom. Dean Mom was with me at my first jury trial. And as she sat in the audience, at times in open court, she was whispering, "Objection, objection." And the bailiff kept trying to find out, where is this sound coming from? But Dean Mom sat there very innocently, and it never really got caught. She no longer tries to object in court, but she has supported me in my research throughout my career and attended The Hague with me and appellate proceedings there. And she supported me in my efforts as dean in Florida, where she was a supporter and a donor and helped law students who were taking the bar. And they also affectionately called her Dean Mom. And she's here with me in Seattle, and she's ready to embrace this UW law community. So again, thank you, Dean Mom. I'd like to thank our president, Anna Marie Kause, who has been generous with me regarding her wisdom and her time ever since I started this summer. I still remember getting that invitation to be part of your the first football game, and in your suite, I was like, I've made it. I think I've really made it. But, you know, President Kause is a force. And she has always been there and available to me when I had a tough decision to make, and encouraged me to take action and to do the right thing. And that's you can't ask for more in a leader. And I want to share with everyone here that I came to this university because of President Kause. I wanted a president that was a woman, not just a woman, not just a female president that was setting the agenda in the nation, and not just the nation, in the international realm as well. I thank you, President Kause, for all that you do for all of us here, for your support of the law school and the support of its dean. Thank you. This is a special time. This is a special place. And this is a special community. I am so honored to be here. And, you know, we're here tonight because of an academic appointment officially, but this gathering today is about so much more than that. You know, when I think of this community, I am overwhelmed with three primary emotions: pride, gratitude, and hope. I have pride. I have strong UW pride. And I am so grateful for the warm welcome that I have received from the administration, the university, the regents that are here, my dean colleagues across campus, the chancellors across campus, all of the staff and administration, all of the law faculty, all of the law staff, and my beautiful students. I have hope. Hope is a very strong emotion, because when I look across this room, I see friends, I see colleagues, I see leaders of business and law, but really what I see is a family. I see a family with old and new members, and I am so impressed about what we are going to do together. This is just the beginning for us. And what inspires me personally directly correlates with this great institution: to be the best. To be the best, to be the best measured by global impact. And we're going to talk about that tonight. You know, my family always instilled in us to never give up. And consistent with William H. Gates Sr.'s motto, to always show up. And I show up daily. And I show up with my authentic self, ready and able and willing to solve problems, to move the ball forward for the future of change. That's what leaders do. And I'm honored and privileged to be a leader in this community, a community of innovators and trailblazers. My remarks tonight are inspired by each and every one of you, but they are additionally inspired in part by a book series really, authored by Kobi Yamada, What You Do Matters. And we are so fortunate that the author has gifted these books to all of the attendees of this investiture. Yes, he's a local, and that was great. The concepts in these books are powerful because they remind us of the unrelenting mind of a child. The child's heart is so pure and open-minded to possibilities. A child's heart is able to imagine the future without limits, without boundaries, can be bold and courageous, really boundless, right, President Kause? We too will work together to be boundless, to be courageous. All of us will for this institution. So Yamada's work tackles three big issues that every successful leader has to consider and every institution has to address. What to do with a chance, what to do with a problem, and what to do with an idea. Some of you may recall that I shared that my journey to Seattle began in a small cafe in Paris. It's true, where a member of our community began to recruit me and encourage me to take notice of a potential chance at the University of Washington School of Law. Yamada's book, What to Do with a Chance, helps guide us, right? He says, quote, "One day I got a chance. It seemed just to show up. It acted like it knew me. It acted as if it wanted something," end quote. More about that in a moment. But Yamada's book takes us through all the natural human emotions that we go through when faced with change. But he emphasizes that the key ingredient necessary when confronted with a chance is to be ready. So, what do you do with a chance? Yamada says, you take it, because it might just be the beginning of something incredible. I am here, ladies and gentlemen, to tell you that the UW Law is incredible. Just a few highlights, and really, I could go on all night, but these are just a few highlights of how incredible the UW Law is. Our faculty. Professor David Owens, who leads our Civil Rights and Justice Clinic, just recently won a $45 million wrongful conviction verdict. Just this week, our professor, Eric Schnapper, presented not one, but two cases before the United States Supreme Court on the top issues as it relates to internet regulations. The case involving Google, you might have heard of it. The case involving Twitter, you might have heard of it. Our faculty are part of the national conversations at the highest level. As I'm telling you, ladies and gentlemen, incredible. Our alumni, and some of them are in this room, And I can go on and on about our alumni. There are so many accomplished alumni, so please forgive me that I don't have everyone here. But our mayor, Bruce Harold, our university regents, Blaine Tamaki, Leo Fuller, Lyndon Rhodes, they're here tonight. Thank you for being here. And we have so many judges. We have judges here tonight from our alumni corps. We have Judge Richard Jones, Judge McCullough, Judge Lori Smith. And these are leaders, and we have our Supreme Court justices here too, and we have our Justice Montoya Lewis on the Supreme Court. But these are leaders who are making a difference in our community, and they are also engaged in this law school. Ladies and gentlemen, incredible. Our administrators, our inaugural William Gates Public Service Program Director. Also, she is now the president of the ACLU of Washington, and also, if that were not enough, the Goldmark Public Service recipient, Michelle Storms, who's here with us tonight. She remains engaged with our students and our graduates in advancing the public good. Incredible. And also, I have to mention our Gates Foundation Advisory Board members and leader who is here tonight, Eileen Flower. Thank you so much. Incredible. And our Gates scholars go on to do justice all across the world. I just named one of our first Gates scholars, Colleen Melody, who is a leader and a division chief at the Attorney General's office. Incredible. Our students, okay? Now, deans, I know I have some famous dean, fancy dean colleagues in the room, but my students are the best, I have to tell you. I have the most amazing students, and I have the receipts to prove it. Just this week, 9 student organizations collaborated and organized an event during Diversity Week, moderated by Chief Justice Stephen Gonzalez of the Washington State Supreme Court, with over 100 attendees, lawyers, students, professors, community leaders, and a panel of diverse presenters, race, gender, ethnicity, disability, and several practice areas. Our students are living what inclusion looks like. They are moving the ball forward, not just for DEI, but for DEIB, belonging. And they would not know how to do that if they weren't also being shepherded by our core administrators, our Dean of Diversity, William Covington, and our Dean of Students, Anna Enter, and both of their staffs who work very collaboratively and engage with the students. Like I tell you, incredible. But what I further want to highlight about that event, because we had our Chief Justice there, and this discussion was so empowering and so rich, he said at the close of the event, quote, "We will change the world." Let's just think about that for a moment. We're going to come back to that theme, but we will change the world. We can change the world. And I even said at an event at a big law firm here that I think Seattle is even uniquely able to change the world because of the resources that this city can deploy. So anyway, I got off script there, but we are incredible. And I want to highlight our staff, because our staff at this law school work alongside our amazing faculty to help every student in their incredible journey in this law school. So our staff, I just want to recognize, is part of the backbone of this institution also, and they are incredible. Thank you. Our community partners. So, we talk about faculty, students, and staff, but it's not just that. It's our community partners. We are partners with the Washington Leadership Institute and Justice Yu and James Williams, who are here with us tonight. And they have committed really their life's work to making sure to mentor lawyers and change the possibilities of what leadership looks like in this state of Washington. I have to tell you, Justice Yu and James Williams, you are incredible. As I often say, leaders are not hatched. They are trained. They are nurtured, they are supported, and they are encouraged. And that is what we do here at UW Law. We are training global leaders, and it's just incredible. So, ladies and gentlemen, I tell you from experience, from a small cafe in Paris, if you get the opportunity for a chance, take it, lean into it, take hold of it, and make it your own, because it might just be the start of something incredible. Yamada goes on to teach us about what to do with a problem. And this is one of my most fun, favorite topics, right? Because that's what lawyers do. I'm sure Yamada never envisioned his books being in the hands of lawyers, right? But problems are our business. Problems are our passion, and problems are our mission. But Yamada highlights that no matter how big and how scary the problem, it's not really even a problem at all. It's an opportunity in disguise. And our law school has a legacy of taking on real challenges head on and converting them into opportunities. Just a few examples of our global impact: our Asian Law Center, our Native American Law Center, our Bear Institute for Sustainable International Development, our Global Business Law Institute, our IP, health law, immigration law, entrepreneurial law clinics, and our tech policy lab, which I would also highlight, in my view, is the gold standard of interdisciplinary work across campus. These centers are led by leaders in our community, right, that are driven and are at the top of their field. Our directors in these programs, amazing professors like Professors Swantao Nguyen, Monty Mills, Anita Ramastrovsky, Scott Shoemaker, Jennifer Fan, Christine Cimini, and Ryan Kalo. And they're donors for these programs, and they're supporters of these programs. Many of them are here with us tonight. And I want to recognize your commitment and recognize your support. But these centers of excellence are problem-solving centers. They're interdisciplinary centers, and they're hubs for building the next generation of leaders. So our school has a reputation and a commitment to excellence, and I'm here to say we are not taking our foot off the gas. As a student of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s speeches, and I think also apropos for Black History Month, this reminds me of a quote from a speech that he gave at Oberlin College. And he said, "Anyone who feels that we can live in isolation today, anyone who feels we can live without being concerned about one another and about other nations, is sleeping through a revolution. The world in which we live is geographically one. And our president always says, what is global is local, and what is local is global. And this law school is focused on its mission of maximizing global impact. This is a community that's going to make a difference. We are going to make that impact. In the last book of Yamada, he tells us, or he asks us, what to do with an idea. What do you do with an idea? You nurture it, you build it, you embrace it, because you might just change the world. We are building here at this institution a culture, a community. We are in a dialogue and a partnership to change the world. I think we can meet Chief Justice Gonzalez at his challenge that we will change the world. You know, I joined this fine law school because I was inspired by this community and your history and your story. I was inspired by the inaugural class of this law school in 1899, and those students graduated in 1902 and graduated the first black lawyer in the state of Washington. And that was even part of my interview slides, if you guys remember way back then. And this black lawyer was not that well known among the community in the law school. His name was William McDonald Austin. And I specifically asked for this investiture to be placed in Black History Month because I wanted to recognize William McDonald Austin in his community. And I wanted to solidify his legacy. And I am excited, really thrilled to announce a new initiative in his name, an initiative for scholarships for first-generation students. And our donors of that scholarship who gave that first money are here with us tonight. So this, I tell you, is a community. Because scholarships are the great equalizer to access to justice. And I encourage others that are willing to join us in this initiative. At the UW, excellence is one of our defining values. We have a cutting-edge curriculum which is designed and focused on professional identity formation, which leads to every student finding an opportunity, not just a job, an opportunity that meets the fire of their passion, the fire of their dream to impact justice. We are training leaders. And I'm not going to tell you that it takes a village to raise a baby lawyer, but I am going to tell you that it takes our entire community to engage and to transform the way law students partner towards their success, how we partner with law students for their success. And that is the transforming component of this community at this law school. We are creating a 360-degree wrap-around support for every law student, and that means faculty, staff, students, alumni, community leaders, etc. So we will be leaning into this community for mentors, for internships, for scholarships, and for your entire support of our students. And we want this type of support to start even before the first day of class. The UW's commitment to excellence is also connected to our world-class faculty and the research that they produce, as well as our commitment to be part of the conversation of transforming legal education for the future. I tell you, this is a very special place, and this is a very special time. I would say it's because we are launching a new conversation, a new initiative amongst each other, because everything is about relationships, and we are in a committed relationship for justice. I have these strong emotions that still resonate from the beginning of this conversation, pride, gratitude, and hope. I am so proud to be your Tony Remby Dean. And to be a leader among a community of leaders. I am grateful for this engaged and collaborative community, and I have hope, which again I think is the strongest emotion, because hope is always forward-looking, and hope is what can drive you to change the world. And I thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. Let's get to work. Thank you. Wow. Thank you. I'll never forget that moment. I have the privilege and honor of introducing Dr. Constance Rice from our Board of Regents. Dr. Rice is a tireless advocate and civic volunteer and has made her mark in many areas of national and international service. As founder and past president of Strategic Education Centers, Dr. Rice and her advisory board established 2 educational centers in Swaziland. She also served as the national founding executive director of the Desmond Tutu Peace Foundation in the United States. She has served as the University of Washington Regent for the past 10 years. She has given me such a warm welcome to this community. And she is active in so many fields: education, healthcare, and public policy. I thank you for welcoming and helping me welcome Dr. Rice to the podium. Thank you.
Well, how can I follow that? Well, the first thing I didn't know Angela was going to say this in her talk, was usually you see me in all black, in my REI shoes. And so, Angela, I did buff it up just for today. People don't even recognize me in pink. And the other piece I wanted to say is that we are in a wonderful situation right now. We're in a wonderful situation because we're at the University of Washington. And I want to say the University of Washington has the scent of the future because we manufacture the future. And so, in conclusion for today, I would like to say we're very well taken care of because of the regents. I've asked the regents that are here to come forward so you can see the rainbow that I see and work with every month. Blaine Tamaki, come up here. Student Regent Elizabeth Lee, come up here. Leo Fuller, come up here. Leonard Forsman, come up here. And we have a fall-away regent in the room, Joe Benaleo, come on up here. These are the faces that create a culture to bring greatness to this campus. In addition to our regents, come up here, President Anna Mari Kalse. And so here we are, and yes, shamelessly boosterism here. Culture is great, but action is better. Our Dean Lawson said, we're going to reconstruct and build on change. We have the ingredients: outstanding faculty, outstanding students, outstanding donors, outstanding leadership, an outstanding community. But the most important thing is activation. And we have before us regents who are volunteers and a president who is the most fabulous of all in the nation. Pardon me. Thank you very much for being up here with me. And so, in conclusion, we're going to hear from the choir again. But the most important thing about a choir is the unity of purpose and outcome in song, the unity and purpose in action. We have a mother, we have two mothers here who've created wonderful human beings. The Dean Mother is here. And I think we need to stand and give her the applause. It is wonderful. And so, as we walk out of this room, we will hear from a magnificent choir from the Northwest African American Museum, who will walk us out through song, who abide in this community as volunteers, lifting up their operatic voices, lifting up their composer skills, lifting up their physical beauty of the progeny that's come out of the homeland of Africa. And so I give to you the Northwest African American Choir one more time. Dean Lawson, would you do us the honor of standing here so you are the first to walk out with the choir, and so the rest of us would follow so that we can give her huggies and kisses and adulation, because this is a time for celebration, because we all have work to do. Thank you for coming.
Turn me around, turn me around, turn me around. Ain't gonna let segregation turn me around. I'm gonna keep